What's going on, YouTube, and welcome to Courtside today with your host Sepunel Sarchan. Yesterday we discussed the Eastern Conference teams, and today we will be discussing the Western Conference teams. But what I did yesterday, I won't be doing today. I won't be dividing the teams up into tiers because in the Western Conference everything is so blurry. It's so difficult to kind of know which team is where. So I will just be discussing the teams team by team by the NBA standings. So before we jump into the video, please leave a like and subscribe down below as it helps the channel out a lot. Starting off with the Minnesota Timberwolves, they just don't have a lot of assets to get anything done right now. They are of course capped with what they did with the Rudy Gobert trade, so they don't have a lot of assets. But I would just try to get some perimeter guard creation. Kind of to put some pressure on the rim, kind of put some pressure on them in the pick and roll, and alleviate some of the pressure of Mike Conley to be the primary ball handler of the team every time. So yeah, that is what I would do right now for them. What I think they should look for is some guard creation off the bench, just a guard that can run some pick and roll, that can shoot a bit, that can distribute the ball as well, and just alleviate some of the pressure off of Mike Conley to be the primary ball handler and the main point guard of the team every time, and maybe have him play a little bit less minutes at his age. Because other than that, they don't have a lot of things that they can do right now. They are just really capped with their assets. Next up, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder, and for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I already discussed what they should do, and it's pretty clear what they should do. They should just go all in right now and just get any star that they like that is available, like Lauri Markkanen, like Mikal Bridges. Whoever they want to get, they should go and get right now because their team is really good already, but it still has place for improvement. And the young guys are on really good contracts. Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams are still on their rookie contracts. For the Los Angeles Clippers, I would go for a big wing that can actually defend, or a big forward rather, that can actually defend, so that Kawhi Leonard can play more of the three spot off the bench. I think the lineup right now with James Harden, Terrence Mann, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard can actually be improved if they just have a four that can actually play the four. Instead of Terrence Mann, just Terrence Mann having maybe come off the bench and maybe you used as a trade bait, because his shooting just isn't there. He's a good defender and puts good pressure on the rim, could rebound the ball as well. He's a good player, but I just don't think he fits in that team when you have James Harden being the main ball handler in the first lineup, and then Russell Westbrook being the main baller in the second lineup. Terrence Mann just is not going to have a lot of the ball, and then off the ball, his shooting just hasn't been there this season. So I would just go for a bigger forward, maybe even a center that they really like. But the Clippers have been playing some really good basketball, so yeah, I don't think they need that much. Just maybe some more chemistry, and maybe just one piece if they can trade away PJ Tucker and maybe Terrence Mann's contract, or PJ Tucker and Norman Powell, who has been actually really good this summer. So yeah, if they can do that, that's a good move for the Clippers. The Denver Nuggets have the best starting lineup in all of basketball. It has been like that for the last year. As long as they are the champions, I don't think anyone can say anything about that. But their bench needs some really big help. I think Christian Brown has been underwhelming this season. I think Julian Strawther, I thought that he would have a bigger role, especially with how he shoots the ball and how well he would be able to complement Jokic. But yeah, that loss of Bruce Brown and even Jeff Green, even though he wasn't the best player anymore, really hurts them. So I would just go for anything off the bench: a backup big, a backup wing, a backup guard, whatever it is that they can get, they should get, but they just don't have a lot of assets to get it done. It will be interesting to see what they do right now, because the opposition is catching up. As NBA champions, of course, I'm saying it myself, they're the best team, but what you should be wary of is that the other teams, they are catching up, they're always getting better. And if you just lose players like Bruce Brown and Jeff Green and don't really get better and just allow the opposition to catch up, then you're going to lose your spot as the best team in the league. For the Dallas Mavericks, I think they should just go for some front court help with Derrick Jones Jr. and Grant Williams. They have two pieces that can really play well in the front court, but I think they just need that one more piece that can really score in the front court. They can also maybe go for a backup center behind Derek Lively, who has started to become their starting center. So maybe they can get someone to back him up. But I would just go for a forward like a Jerami Grant, which I already discussed in the video about Jerami Grant, how he would be an excellent fit there, because he can play the three next to Grant Williams. He can play the four next to Derrick Jones Jr. So that would be a really good move for them. But yeah, mainly it's just front court help that they should look for, probably a forward, and then possibly if there's still some more room or cap space or just a contract to trade or assets, they could go for a center, but I would just go for a forward in the first place. For the New Orleans Pelicans, it's kind of weird to know what they need because they have some guys who are starting to develop and become some really good NBA players in, of course, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jordan Hawkins, Dyson Daniels. They are starting to become some really good NBA players, while on the other hand, you have those older players, or not really old, but kind of older player already, in Zion Williamson, in Jonas Valanciunas, in Brandon Ingram, and in CJ McCollum. So it's kind of weird guessing what they need right now. If I would guess, it's actually a real point guard that can actually set up team, and not just have CJ McCollum playing point guard. Just maybe a defensive point guard. I don't know. I don't know what they need right now, man. It's honestly hard to guess. They have some guards. They have some wings. They have big men in Jonas Valanciunas and Larry Nance Jr. They have those guys. But just overall, I don't know what it is that they need right now. Do they need to make a move? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they need to make a move and maybe just let the guys develop that are there. But if they should make a move, I would just go for a guard that can actually really score, so that they aren't forced to play CJ as the point guard every time and then Herb Jones as the two, and then off the bench you have Jose Alvarado and Dyson Daniels. That's maybe not enough playmaking for other guys as the point guard or at the guard position. Moving on, we have the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns, they're basically handcuffed. They don't have anything left anymore. They can maybe make one more move, and if they do, it's just go for some defense. Preferably a defender that can shoot, but I think that's a lot to ask with the assets that they have at their disposal right now. But just go for some defense because they don't need any more scoring right now. They have Beal, they have Book, they have KD. They even have Eric Gordon who can score the ball. They have Grayson Allen who can shoot the ball. So they don't need more scoring. They just need some more defense. And Kevin Durant has been a really good defender over these past few years. He has started to develop into a really good defender, but he needs some more point of attack defense next to him. Even though Booker has also started to become a good defender, just a really a lockdown point of attack defender would be really good for them. And then maybe a point guard. And the guy that fits both those molds is Chris Dunn, of course, a guy who has been amazing for the Utah Jazz, and I don't know if they're willing to let him go. I don't think he's untouchable, but just for what the Suns can offer, I don't even know if there's anything remotely interesting for the Utah Jazz there to take from them. So maybe a playmaking point guard, and they really need some perimeter defense. That's what they should go for. The Los Angeles Lakers are in rumors for DeJounte Murray, but that's once again an experiment that will fail. Stop putting LeBron James with ball dominant point guards. I think LeBron James can play off the ball with a ball dominant point guard, and those ball dominant point guards can play off the ball with LeBron James. LeBron James just needs shooters around him, shooters, and if he then wants to complain that he doesn't have guys that can handle the ball enough, well, that's his own fault because he always wants the ball. They just need to go for some shooting, like a Buddy Hield, maybe some Malcolm Brogdon who can shoot the ball and handle the ball, kind of be backup point guard when LeBron is off the bench. But yeah, they just need some shooting, and I think they're going to move off of D'Angelo Russell, of course, and probably go for a guy like Zach LaVine or maybe for Malcolm Brogdon if they could, because they just need a guy that can shoot but also a bit handle the ball but doesn't need the ball at all times. But that's why they need to go for these off-ball, on-ball players, kind of a mold which is very hard to find, a role that Kyrie Irving perfected when playing with LeBron, and a role that is like really hard to play, honestly. And that's why I never blame Russell Westbrook. I don't blame D'Angelo Russell. I don't blame the guys that have played with LeBron at point guard because it's just extremely hard. But that's why a guy like Malcolm Brogdon would fit really well with them, I believe. The Houston Rockets lost Kevin Porter Jr. at the beginning of the season. Of course, due to what he did, they had to trade him away, and then he got waived, and he hasn't played an NBA game since. But that was their starting point guard, and they had acquired Fred VanVleet, and he would have been the starting point guard with KPJ probably moving to the six-man role. They need a guard right now, and once again, a guy that is perfect for them would probably be Malcolm Brogdon. Once again, I'm naming a lot of Blazers players, but it's just because I'm a Blazers fan and I know that these guys are actually high-level players that they can trade away and that they would trade away. So, Malcolm Brogdon is just one of those guards who is making 20 mil, wouldn't cost that much But he's a good addition to any team that is trying to compete and trying to make the playoffs, which the Houston Rockets are trying to do right now. But yeah, the Houston Rockets have been playing some really impressive basketball this year. Ime Udoka has those guys playing hard, above their level. Because last year they were amongst the worst teams in the league. But yeah, I would just go for a guard that can actually shoot the ball at a high level, because Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet have been horribly inefficient right now. VanVleet has been a good player and he's been shooting a lot of trees, but he's still been inefficient shooting the two, and then Jalen Green has just been an awful basketball player in this season. I don't know how he got picked number two. He just hasn't looked anywhere near that caliber of a player, or what that was said about him next Kobe, this, that. I'm not trying to use those things to discredit him, but it's just like at some point as a number two pick, he should just put it together and start to show us something that's like, okay, he can be a number one, number two, or even borderline number three option. But he hasn't shown anything like that, and it's kind of sad to see. So they just need a guard who can get that team going next to Alperen Sengun, next to Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, and Tyree Eason, who have been playing some really good basketball in that front court. So yeah, that's what I think they should do right now. The Utah Jazz, I don't have any idea what they are doing right now. At the beginning of the season, they look bad with some injuries here and there. But then in recent weeks, man, they have been playing some amazing basketball. Will Hardy has those guys playing extremely hard. Lauri Markkanen is an absolute star. Chris Dunn is one of the best point guards, like probably one of the best point guard defenders in the league. They have Jordan Clarkson, of course. Keontae George has been developing really well. Walker Kessler, Kelly Olynyk. It's just a team full of role players like that, apart from Lauri Markkanen, and I don't know who they should go for right now, really, or what they should do. Do they have the assets to maybe make a move to actually get better, or will they go for a selling route, or just stay where they are right now, which is a weird position because they're actually better than the Golden State Warriors or the Houston Rockets. So I don't know what they should do right now. Personally, I would go for the tank. I don't think it's ever going to work out with Lauri Markkanen. That's nothing due to any problem or fault of his own. It's just that the timing isn't right. I think they should just cash in right now on Lauri Markkanen and be happy with how they were able to develop him and how many assets they were able to get from him in something that was just supposed to be a piece that they got back from a rebuild, but wasn't supposed to be the main piece. The main thing that they got back from the Donovan Mitchell trade was all the picks that they got, but Lauri Markkanen has turned into a really good player as well, and a star. So that really paid off for them, and they should just cash in on him now, in my opinion, instead of trying to still build with him, because I don't think they'll ever reach the level of really competing with him, and that would be a disservice to him and to the Utah Jazz as well. The Golden State Warriors can do basically anything. They are so bad right now that it wouldn't surprise me if 5, 6, 7, 8 people on that roster were traded. I mean, right now, if you told me they trade Chris Paul, I'd believe you. If you tell me they trade Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, I'd believe you. Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, whoever it is, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, all those guys on the roster, of course, except Stephen Curry, should be expandable, and they aren't untouchable right now. Like Klay and Dre, I appreciate what you've done for the Golden State Warriors, but those guys have just been playing some horrible basketball, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if all of them were traded. I mean, of course, I don't think all of them will get traded just because of the sheer amount of salary that is. But, any number of them could be traded, and I don't know what they need right now. It's just a full roster overhaul that they need, other than Steph. But the thing that's really good is with Steph, you already know what you have, and that's a guy that's going to make your entire team better just because of the attention he creates on ball, off ball. So yeah, I'm not even remotely sure what they need, because I'm not sure what they're gonna send out and what's gonna remain on the team. So yeah, the Warriors, no idea. Then we have the Portland Trailblazers, who I think they should set up their veterans in Malcolm Brogdon, Matisse Thybulle, Jerami Grant, and DeAndre Ayton. Even though I think the market for DeAndre Ayton will be basically non-existent, those three other guys can have some pretty good value. And can maybe help kickstart that rebuild in the search for some front court guys after they already have their set backcourt of Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, and Anthony Simons, of course. But yeah, I've written an article about them, what they should do, and how they should do it. So you can go check that out. The link is down below on the courtsidenews.com. And then to finish off, we have the San Antonio Spurs, who of course have Victor Wembanyama. They got what they wanted out of their rebuild already, and now they can start to build towards being a good team. They don't need to tank anymore, even though they are tanking right now, and I don't think it's a bad decision. But they can start already building some pieces, and it's been rumored that they want DeJounte Murray again. Of course, what they need right now is a point guard. If they go and get DeJounte Murray right now and give up less than what they got for him, that's an amazing coup, because they basically got Wembanyama out of it, and now gonna get DeJounte Murray back. It's like basically have your cake and eat it too. And yeah, they just really need a point guard right now to help Wemby to get some lobs to that guy, man. I mean, Trey Jones has been really good in the chemistry with Wembanyama, but he hasn't been the guy to really be the starting point guard of that franchise. And I think they should maybe go for DeJounte Murray. I don't know if it would be the best fit if DeJounte wants to return, but he has said he would probably welcome it. But before the season, I already said they should be looking into getting Anthony Simons if Portland would ever give him up, but I don't think Portland will give him up. But other than that, there are other guards out there who can get Wembanyama the ball or score the ball, and that's what they need right now. A point guard that they can really build with, and maybe they get that out of the draft this year, or maybe they go and get that at the deadline. The Sacramento Kings, like a lot of teams in the NBA, need some perimeter defense next to De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. I mean, they just need some guys to be able to get stops. I think Domantas Sabonis at center hasn't really hurt them that much defensively. I don't think he's been the best defender, but they really need some defensive pieces that can actually defend, because right now they don't have any. They have Davion Mitchell, but he has been played out of the lineup by Keon Ellis-Even. But yeah, they just need a guy that could defend, preferably start and defend or shoot and defend, because they also need some shooters with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. They need some shooters around that duo, but especially defenders right now. And then for the Memphis Grizzlies, what they should do right now is just tank. But they could already go for a move for a guy that they like for next year, since Ja Morant is out, Desmond Bane is out for an extended amount of time, and Marcus Smart as well. So they can already make a move right now. It won't make them that much better if they are like, okay, if we can get a move on a discount right now, do it already now, and then in the summer we can make our next move and then come back as a whole unit next year. They could do that, but right now what I would do if they don't make that move is probably sell off Marcus Smart, because I don't think that trio with Marcus Smart, Ja Morant, and Desmond Bane will ever work, because they're just not tall enough to play the 1, 2, and 3, and then Marcus Smart and Ja Morant don't have enough shooting to play the 1 and 2 in a starting backcourts. So that was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and tell me if you agree with what I said about your team. Maybe they want to target some other pieces. Maybe you disagree with the pieces I mentioned for your team. Just leave a comment down below and we can discuss it. And we can also discuss it on my Twitter page at the Courtside News. But yeah, that was it for me, and I will see you next time. Bye.